You wake up inspired. Today is the day. You feel the fire in your chest, the clarity in your mind. You're going to change everything. But 3 days later, that fire is ash. The clarity became fog. And you're back where you started, scrolling through motivational quotes, waiting for lightning to strike again. Here's what nobody tells you. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes like weather. But systems? Systems are the architecture of your life. They don't ask how you feel. They don't wait for permission. They simply work, silently, relentlessly, even when you don't. The difference between people who transform their lives and those who dream about it isn't talent or willpower, it's infrastructure. Winners don't chase feelings. They build machines. And today I'm going to show you the 5 systems that separate those who wish from those who win. If you're tired of starting over, if you're ready to stop being a slave to your moods, then stay with me until the end. Subscribe now, because what comes next will change how you see success forever. And leave a comment with one word that describes your biggest struggle right now. Let's begin. System 1. The identity architecture. Most people try to build habits. Winners rebuild identity. You don't wake up at 5 a.m. because you're disciplined. You wake up because you've decided you're the kind of person who does. There's a difference, and it's everything. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. You're not trying to read more books. You're becoming a reader. You're not trying to work out. You're becoming an athlete. When your identity shifts, your behavior follows effortlessly, like water finding its level. Think about it. A smoker who says, "I'm trying to quit," is different from someone who says, "I'm not a smoker." One is fighting a war. The other has already won it. The first relies on willpower, which is finite. The second operates from identity, which is infinite. James Clear calls this identity-based habits, but the Stoics knew it 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your identity is your operating system. Everything else is just software." So here's your first system. Decide who you are, then let your actions prove it to yourself. Write down 3 identity statements, not goals. Identities. I am someone who values deep work. I am someone who honors my word. I am someone who invests in growth. Read them every morning. Let them become the lens through which you make decisions. When you're about to skip the gym, you won't ask, "Do I feel like going?" You'll ask, "Is this who I am?" And the answer will be obvious. But here's what most people miss. System 2. The environment design. Your willpower is a joke. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. Every time you resist temptation, you drain a battery that doesn't recharge until you rest. So why would you build a life that requires constant resistance? Winners don't rely on discipline. They eliminate decisions. They design environments where the right choice is the easiest choice, where excellence is the path of least resistance. Your environment is stronger than your intentions, always. If you want to read more, don't tell yourself to be more disciplined. Put a book on your pillow. Remove the TV from your bedroom. Make the friction for the bad habit high and the friction for the good habit low. B.J. Fogg, the behavior scientist, proved this with his tiny habits method. He showed that motivation is unreliable, but environment design is bulletproof. The Stoics understood this too. Seneca surrounded himself with people who elevated him. Epictetus controlled his inputs obsessively. They knew that you become what you're around, that your surroundings whisper suggestions all day long. Look around your space right now. What is it suggesting? Is your phone on your desk, tempting you into distraction? Are snacks visible, calling you into mindless eating? Is your workout gear buried in a closet? Every object in your environment is either working for you or against you. Redesign it. Put your running shoes by the door. Eat the junk food. Place a journal on your coffee table. Turn your space into a temple of intention and watch how your behavior transforms without effort. If this resonates, hit that like button. But before we move on, let me tell you something most people never consider. System 3, the micro-commitment loop. Big goals are beautiful. They're also paralyzing. You say you want to write a book, lose 50 pounds, build a business, noble. But when you sit down to start, the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels like an ocean, so you freeze. Or worse, you wait for the perfect moment that never comes. Winners know a secret. You don't commit to the goal. You commit to the micro-action. You commit to 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, and in those 2 minutes, magic happens. This is the system that builds unstoppable momentum. You don't promise yourself you'll write for 2 hours. You promise yourself you'll write 1 sentence. You don't commit to a full workout. You commit to putting on your gym clothes. The brilliance? Once you start, the hardest part is over. 90% of the battle is showing up. Newton's first law applies to humans too. Objects in motion stay in motion. Once you write 1 sentence, you'll write 10. Once you lace up your shoes, you'll run the mile. The obstacle is the way, as Ryan Holiday says, isn't about removing obstacles. It's about using them as fuel. The obstacle of inertia is solved by making the first step absurdly small. Here's how you build this system. Pick 1 habit you want to install. Now shrink it until it feels laughably easy. Want to meditate? Start with 3 breaths. Want to study? Open the book, that's it. Do it every day, same time, same place. Your brain will build the neural pathway. After a week, the habit will start to pull you forward on its own. After a month, it will feel wrong not to do it. You're not building discipline, you're building automation. You're turning intention into instinct. But there's a system even more powerful than this. System 4, the accountability mirror. You lie to yourself every day. We all do. You say you'll wake up early and then you don't. You promise you'll focus and then you scroll. You swear you'll be consistent and then you're not. And the worst part? Nobody calls you on it. There's no judge, no referee, no consequence. So the gap between who you say you are and who you actually are grows wider, until one day you don't even recognize yourself anymore. Winners build a system that won't let them lie. They build an accountability mirror. David Goggins, the man who ran 100 miles on broken legs, who became a Navy SEAL after being obese and broke, credits this system as the foundation of his transformation. Every night, he stands in front of a mirror and asks himself 1 question. Did I give everything today, or did I leave something on the table? The mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your excuses, your fatigue, your bad day. It reflects truth. And truth, when you face it consistently, becomes the most powerful motivator on earth. The Stoics called this memento mori, the reminder of death. Not to be morbid, but to be honest. Time is limited. Are you spending it like you mean it? Build this system. Every evening, 5 minutes, stand in front of a mirror or sit with a journal. Ask yourself, did I honor my commitments today? Did I act like the person I claim to be? Write down your wins and your failures. Don't sugarcoat, don't rationalize, just the facts. Over time, this ritual will rewire your integrity. You'll stop making promises you won't keep. You'll stop betraying yourself in small ways. You'll become someone whose actions match their words. And that alignment, that's where real power lives. Comment below with 1 commitment you're going to hold yourself accountable for this week. Now let me show you the final system, the one that ties everything together. System 5, the compound optimization protocol. Here's the truth about transformation that no one wants to hear. It's boring. It's not dramatic. It's not a viral moment or a breakthrough revelation. It's the same small action repeated day after day until it accumulates into something extraordinary. Winners understand that 1% better every day doesn't feel like much, but compounded over a year, It's 37 times better. That's not motivation. That's mathematics. And mathematics doesn't care how you feel. It just works. This is the system James Clear immortalized in Atomic Habits, but the principle is ancient. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, visualizing obstacles in advance so they could optimize around them. Ryan Holiday writes about this in The Obstacle is the Way. You don't just react to problems, you anticipate them, you design contingencies, you build anti-fragility into your process. Every day, you look at your systems and ask, where's the friction? Where am I leaking energy? What tiny tweak could make this 10% easier? You optimize, not once, not when things break. Every single day. Here's how you install this system. At the end of each week, spend 15 minutes reviewing your routines. What worked? What didn't? Where did you stumble? Then make one small adjustment. Maybe you realize your morning workout is failing because you're sleeping in clothes. Solution: sleep in your workout gear. Maybe your writing isn't happening because you're checking email first. Solution: write before you open your inbox. These aren't grand revelations. They're tweaks. But tweaks compound. Over months, over years, you become unrecognizable. You become someone who doesn't fight against life. You become someone who flows with precision, who operates like a machine, who wins not because they're talented, but because they're relentless in their refinement. Subscribe if you're ready to stop waiting for motivation and start building systems that make success inevitable. So, here we are. You now know the 5 systems that winners build while everyone else chases motivation. The identity architecture that makes behavior effortless. The environment design that removes the need for willpower. The micro-commitment loop that turns inertia into momentum. The accountability mirror that closes the gap between words and actions. And the compound optimization protocol that turns small improvements into extraordinary results. These aren't theories, these are blueprints. But blueprints don't build houses. You do. So here's my question for you. Which system will you build first? Which one will you install this week? Not next month. Not when you feel ready. This week. Write it in the comments. Hold yourself accountable publicly. And while you're there, subscribe to this channel because we're just getting started. Share this video with someone who's stuck in the motivation trap. Help them break free. The world doesn't need more dreamers. It needs more builders. It needs more people who understand that feelings are weather, but systems are architecture. Be the architect. Build your life with intention and watch what happens when you stop chasing motivation and start becoming inevitable. Now go, build, and I'll see you in the next one.